Hi, Xanthe here. Try another video. I've been making a few lately. I didn't expect to make any more. I'm kind of sick of advocacy, but I kind of feel like I said a few videos ago, that I don't think it's going to ever be over, really. Like, when you are living with what I live with, it's not like you can just completely get on with your life and not be affected by it. I sometimes end up arguing with strangers on the internet who then carry on about how bizarre it is trying to talk to me. And one of the petty arguments was, but my username, I've got an identity, a diagnosis in my username. Well, actually, I don't have a diagnosis on my username. Bipolar affective disorder is just one of my diagnoses. I chose it in the username, and we all have to have usernames to be able to use social media. So you got to choose something. I chose it because it's the most stigmatized of my diagnoses. And I was actually also, when I chose it, that I was hoping to kick trauma's butt and be done with and completely cured and healed of whatever PTSD, which I've had since childhood. I really resisted the diagnosis of bipolar disorder. I didn't want it because of stigma. I actually told the clinicians that was the reason why. I did not want it because I knew how people treated people with that diagnosis. I don't know how I knew, I just knew. I can't remember how I knew. But I actually would instead insist, no, I don't have bipolar disorder, I'm autistic. I called myself autistic for years. Well, it turns out that psychiatrist said I am on the autism spectrum, but it's actually a bit subjective. He reckons, even though I score high in test, that I'm just below ASD, which is the new labelling since 2013. But I do fit historical diagnosis of pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified, which was the catch-all category for people who had features with autism but didn't fit either autistic disorder, aka classic autism, which tended to be the people that didn't talk and had severe difficulty communicating, or Asperger's syndrome, which tended to be the people who were very good at talking but they had some difficulties with the communication in more subtle ways. Now, I had mutism as a child until I was 5 years old. I could talk at home, sometimes I wouldn't, but it wasn't refusal, it was actually, although it was seen at the time by my parents that way, like being naughty, it was actually, I couldn't. I don't remember a lot about it, but when I've had it when I was an adult, it's when I'm very stressed and I'm shut down and dissociating. I only have a few memories in a child of being shut down. Sorry, I have scratchy eyes. I actually put a little wee tiny video of me as a child. I only picked out the bits where I was mostly alone because family get upset if they're in videos. So yeah, most of the time I probably just look like a shy and child in those clips, but it doesn't show in those clips how I was socially with other people. Like, I didn't talk at school, I didn't do the group discussions at school, I wouldn't go out to play at school. So these videos from the home movies show nothing about that kind of aspect, which was picked up. It was mentioned by teachers, etc. Like, is there something going on at home, to my parents? Why is that? Because she doesn't talk. Oh, well, she talks at home, so that's your problem, was the answer. So anyway, this was back in the early 70s. So in the 80s, yeah, I was just very anxious. My historical diagnoses Generalized anxiety disorder, major depressive disorder, first episode of major depression, age 20, when I had a breakdown, what clinicians call decompensation. I've had two really, well, probably three really big breakdowns, and then a lot of smaller ones. They call it decompensation when you lose the ability to be able to do things for yourself that you previously could do. And each time my brain has basically become more affected and impaired, and it's taken years to try and get back some kind of where I am at now, where I can't do a career, and I get really sick of all these people with their high-flying careers and stuff all deciding that they have they always want to have favourite diagnoses. It's always autism and ADHD, and everything else is a misdiagnosis. It's absolutely ridiculous. The thing is that lots of things do look similar. I do understand there's lots of arguing about self-diagnosis. I do understand why people might want to do it, but a lot of these people actually have the privilege to do it because it means that they can actually not mention it and no one would know the damn difference, right? So they have the option, and it's always the popular people on social media are always the ones that by their own admission they actually had nothing, they had no real struggles. They had nothing to point to in childhood. They wouldn't have been diagnosed anyway. And the thing is that even the autism features, I choose now as a protest not to identify as autistic anymore, because why should I pick out one thing out of lots of things and make them into my identity? And I'm just sick of the identity politics. I am sick to death of the identity politics, scrapping online and trying to feel special over something when those that have real disabilities still are stuck with it. And if you get adult autism diagnosis anyway, there's nothing for it in adulthood, and it can even be used against you. So I really want to rehash all this shit. See, I can't even remember. Did I say what my diagnoses were? So my username, I know that was brought up. See, I've forgotten. See, I have short-term memory impairments. I can still remember ridiculous things from decades ago, like EDTA with ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, I mean, just, okay. My brain struggles a lot. And then when I have communication impairments, then people start making insults saying I'm rude or whatever. Well, I have diagnosed disorders that affect my communication. I'm trying my best to communicate. I don't realise until I watch myself back just how hard it is to understand me, because tangent. Now the other diagnosis that can look really similar is actually ADHD, but I have that ruled out because I don't have enough features in childhood. So anyway, see, I forgot what I was trying to say. I'm tired. I'm always tired, but I'm just a bit extra tired lately. And changed my bio to reflect why I chose the username. I chose it because, see, I don't even know if I've said it. I will see when I watch back. I always wrote the description afterwards because I wrote a few notes and wrote the description afterwards. Bipolar, just, it takes courage to live with bipolar disorder. Bipolar gives me courage. I don't see it as my entire identity. I don't see any of these as my entire identity. It's interesting because if you don't go away with the trend, whatever this is the trendy narrative currently, such as self-diagnosis is valid, you just get dismissed. It's like my lived experience doesn't count. I've had years of this, decades of this. Now, self-diagnosis is not valid with the legal system, with the medical system, with the education system. with the welfare system. It isn't. They need to have a reason, and if you have some of these, glasses are dirty. I'm still wearing my pink ones. I'm not even really looking at the camera anyway, so I have differences, mate. Sorry. I shouldn't have to just keep apologising, because it's just what it is. Oh, I'm out of glasses, which are the same. Doesn't make any difference. I wear these ones for close-up and these ones for distance, so the camera's kind of in the middle at the moment. I'm not really looking at it anyway. But they're both the same. These because of getting old. It's not valid. I've dealt with these systems. I still have to fight these systems. I am diagnosed. I don't get the ones that I want. It's not like I want them. You know, like you don't get to pick and choose. It's what the labels are there. They're supposed to get you some supports. And I was diagnosed. I can't remember now if I said. So I'm currently in the order ranking how I'm affected would be post-traumatic stress disorder, which is a mental injury, bipolar disorder, which a doctor said actually comes under the mental injury, really. It's a mood disorder. Then mild social anxiety disorder, and then the autism spectrum features. You know, they affected more when I was a childhood, opposite of what these people are saying nowadays when they're calling their burnout and everything else, autism. Historical diagnosis is a major depression disorder, although you have major depressive episodes with bipolar, you can do. And generalized anxiety disorder, although anxiety can go with pretty much all of those things. So you can still have, subclinical features of anything that's below threshold for diagnosis. I don't really want to keep talking about all this shit. I'm really over it and I really should stop. But I kind of feel like I can't. Someone asked me about my books, where they can get them from. They're on Amazon, and the ebooks are also on major ebook distributors. I've got the link in the bio somewhere, and my website, soulpurpose.com, under books. There's some links in there. There's 2 books that are drawn directly from my experiences, because that's what I'm basically an expert in it, because I've had to deal with these systems and doctors and psychiatrists and stuff. So I've woven some of it shit into the books. 2 of them. I was hoping to have by now written a 3rd one, but well, I did have a 3rd one, but I deleted it because I got bullied by a whole bunch of bloody activists. But anyway, the 2 that I still have published are Pet Purpose, Your Unspoken Voice, which is semi-autobiographical novel. It's a novel for disguise and efficiency mainly, and also just to get creative. Bipolar Courage, Are You Sure You're Not As Autistic, is about an online connection that was really intense while I was doing this advocacy journey. I deleted my blog from Bipolar Courage, mainly because I don't really want to renew the domain name, but I also just kind of want to move on from it. I'm actually mostly on Soul Purpose now. So Soul Purpose, did I say Soul Purpose before? Soulpurpose.com, I've listed my books there, but I've also got soulpurpose.nz where I put my art. My book that it's going to take me a while to get back to it, but sequel to Pet Purpose is Soul Purpose. If you kind of get how hard it is for me to speak coherently, and getting criticised all my freaking life for it, and even when I didn't speak at all, then you might appreciate just how hard it is to actually complete a book, because I had to go over and 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 over the editing and stuff, and trying to rewrite sections and clean it up and put it in order and sequence, because my brain goes off on so many freaking tangents. Writing is quite clunky. That's why I find visual arts is a lot, I don't know, easier in some respects. Excuse me for clicking on my toes. Have you heard that? Click, click, click. But I still don't have the energy to do a highly productive, I'm aiming to try and do 1 painting a month at this stage. And then, I don't see, Alan is a bit of a bugger, you know, like, I got no space to store anything, and I don't want to have solo exhibitions because too much stress. I've had to in the past with mental health. Hoping to take part in some group exhibitions, but otherwise, I don't know. I'm yeah, it's kind of hard. It's just trying to do something with it. Having these disabilities that aren't invisible, you know, people saying they've got all these invisible disabilities, that they didn't realise that no one realised, including themselves, until they were like 45 or something. A load of fucking shit. I mean, it's very visible at times, and I spent a lot of my life in hibernation because I find it too hard to deal with people. And all these people that just want to be in an in-group, it's all very social orientated. How is that autistic? How is that autism? And one of the reasons why I don't call myself autistic anymore is actually just a protest about the way that it's all become a whole bunch of watered down identity politics. I've had shit over it. I've been bullied and abused over it. But anyway,